Hi, everyone, and welcome to the next workshop that we've got, one of five. This is the fifth one out of five, and it's called the Equality, Diversity and Inclusion Diverse Heritage Network. So basically, it's just a forum, a little space where people can talk about the heritage sector and industrial heritage and how we can kind of help to shape the content and education that heritage museums provide, ensuring that all stories are told. So this is a network and forum for diverse industrial heritage enthusiasts. If you're really passionate about the industry and the sector or want to get involved, this is the place to be. And it's for people wanting to learn more, for professionals and for organizations, but the main thing in common that we're all passionate about diversity and inclusion. This project is in partnership with the Arts Funding and Philanthropy Networks Programme, and it is hosted by Nottingham News Centre. And Nottingham News Centre provides professional services for inclusion, diversity, and equality. That's EDI for short. It provides heritage management skills and heritage management media production and all things heritage. And the Arts Funding and Philanthropy they help to transform the knowledge, skills, and levels of success for arts organisations. Philanthropy is a word that I am still learning to say properly, so please excuse my pronunciation there. So the aims of this Diverse Industrial Heritage Forum is to create a forum aimed for people involved in industrial heritage, around the world, not just in the UK, all across the world, because I'm sure we have many people tuning in from all around the world. Welcome. And it's a space for sharing your experience, just talking about what you know about the sector, the industrial heritage sector, and how it is for you, your lived experience. We're talking on a global level, like we say, because a lot of the things that happen here in the UK might not happen in America or Australia or China and the Caribbean and Africa. So we have to be inclusive, and we should, because heritage is global, and all our lives are part of that story. We want to help forge better links with mining organisations and industrial heritage organisations overseas. So we're very keen on working in partnership to help make a change in the museums. When you visit museums, for me, when I go to a museum, I do look around at what it's saying, what it's telling me, what the staff are saying, how are they feeling, how is their story, whatever they're presenting in that museum or heritage organisation site, what is it saying to me as a woman, an African woman, a woman of African heritage and Caribbean heritage, a female? What is it telling? What's it saying about my story as well? So I always look out for those things when I visit museums. So I'm a bit of a museum inspector, informal inspector. I don't have a clipboard, not yet, but I'm very keen to help museums think about the content that they're presenting in order to get new people visiting that museum. Because unless the stories in that museum can touch lives and touch the mind and ignite this, what's the point? Okay, so that's my passion. This forum as well as talked about fundraising, how to get money to do what you need to do, how to raise money, how to encourage donations for the work that you're doing, and also talked about leadership as well, how to go forward with your ideas and make them come to fruition in order to make change and improve education. So there's some of the things that this forum has discussed over the now this is the fifth session, the last one for 2022. We will be doing more in 2023 in the spring. We'll be doing another set of discussions over a few sessions. So these were the dates that we've held this network forum, and obviously today is Friday the 16th of December 2022. So it is Christmas, as you can see. I do have my tinsel up and my little star above my head right there. And I wish you all a wonderful, peaceful festive season wherever you are across the world. So just to recap on the 5 topics that we've actually covered over the past few days and weeks. And the first session was really just an introduction into what was heritage, the heritage sector, and industrial heritage in particular. So we're talking about museums that are specifically dealing with history of manufacturing, of mining, of canals and rivers and railways, and health as well. That comes under industry as well. So we just looked at the kind of bigger picture in session 1. And understanding some of the law, the equality law, that we kind of work under, everybody, not just historians and people in the heritage sector, the whole of the UK, that is part of UK law, the Equality Act 2010, which explains some of the 9 protected characteristics that everybody needs to be aware of, and everybody is also kind of affected by at least one of those 9 in some way. So that was session 1. In session 2, we talked about working as a consultant, which I am. how do you become a consultant for the heritage sector, and how to get involved, really, how to start looking at the sector and working out what is it you want to do, and what can you do, what skills can you bring to the sector, because it's always trying to pull in people who are passionate about how the human story, how our past is presented to people now and also in the future as well. So that was in session 2. And also we talked about getting paid, making sure that if you are working under a paid contract or agreement, how to make sure you negotiate the right fee, how to cost a project, how to if you if you want to work voluntary, what are the kind of things you need to be aware of around that, as opposed to being paid voluntary. You're not paid, you are working, you're giving your time and your skills and your knowledge in order to help out and learn and to meet new people, but that's unpaid. So that's voluntary work, but paid work is different and it needs to be approached differently. That was in session 2. Session 3 was all about developing services. What kind of offer are you giving to the public? What kind of offer will you give if you're a consultant? What kind of offer would you give to a museum? What would you be, what would they be paying you for? So those are the services. So we talked about research, doing reports. You could be helping curating exhibitions, planning those, developing strategic plans. It might be doing staff training and workshops, or it might be product development. You might be thinking about things that could be sold in your organization, such as products and books and merchandise. Those are kind of products that can be sold within the industrial heritage sector. So we talked about different kind of things that people sell, that one can sell, and also if you are a consultant, some of the things that you can pitch for to get work. Okay, so that was in session 3. Session 4 was all about working with other people, other individuals and other organizations. So working in partnership or in teamwork, okay, to get the aims of whatever you're doing done. All right, it is great to work in a partnership. It saves time, it saves money, it allows people to knowledge transfer. Okay, so everyone's got some knowledge about something perhaps, or skilled in a particular area. So working in a partnership helps you to kind of learn from other people. It's a great way to get projects done and tasks done. Okay, it's sharing the workload basically. And if you're like me, I do like to work in partnerships, that I kind of enjoy the kind of give and take in a partnership. And it should be an equal partnership. It shouldn't be one person or one organization dominating the discussion or dominating the kind of activities. It should be a shared venture. So that was in session 4. So session 5 today, the final one of the 5 that I've put together, is all about your career, your future career or present career, or you might want to change from a job that you're doing and move into the heritage sector, the industrial heritage sector. How can you go about finding work in history, in kind of history programs or museums or wherever, but how can you find a job? So this session today is all about routes into the heritage sector and the media sector as well, because my background as well has been involved in media production for nearly 30 years, and I want to make sure that I can share my journey with you to help you think about your space in media, because we're all in it now. 20-30 years ago, it was a very limited sector. It was very difficult to get into, and it was a very specialist field to get into. Now everybody is producing media in some way. That could be emailing, it could be making podcasts, it could be making videos like this one, it could be making television programs. It's incredible the scope now of the media industry, and the media industry has been great to work with the heritage sector, because if it wasn't for the media, for media production, it would maybe a little bit more challenging to get to share history. Because I'm thinking, you know, from my experience with the media and heritage, they work together, because the media communications, it helps to share the knowledge that's of history. Yes, as your work as a historian. So it's a fantastic kind of link of these two kind of sectors working together. So I want to talk about that as well, how to get into the media industry specifically for heritage. And also I'll be talking about becoming self-employed, you know, working for yourself, not necessarily working for an organization as a member of staff, but you are leading your own staff and you are leading your own work. So that is leadership, and that's being an entrepreneur, and that may mean setting up your own community interest company, CIC, or setting up your own limited company, LTD. You'll see that often at the end of companies. They'll either have an LTD, CIC, and other kind of markings that show what type of company setup they have. And your company setup is important because it allows you to do certain things, and it doesn't, and allows you not to do certain things. So the way and how you set up your company is really important. So we're going to talk about setting up your own work, like I do. I run Nottingham News Centre, and we have been operating for almost 10 years. It's going to be 10 years in June 2023, which I cannot believe. We have done so well. Our staff and volunteers have been absolutely brilliant, and I have absolutely loved leading my own work within the heritage sector. Cannot believe it. It's just been phenomenal, and the amount of work we've done, my well-being, mental health well-being, overall happiness has been 10 out of 10. So I would thoroughly recommend being freelance, or, you know, working for yourself, developing your own company and leading the work that you want to do. Really great stuff. So we're going to be talking about that in this session. So okay, so just think about some of the things that might be on your mind. If you've got any ideas or questions or things that you're not sure about, please feel free to email, get in touch with me, Norma, at nottinghamnewscentre.com, or visit our website, nottinghamnewscentre.com. I will show you at the end of this presentation, there will be a slide on contacting us in order to link up, perhaps do some partnership work in the future, to get some advice, get some tips. I will share that with you at the end of the session. So the working world of heritage, employment in the heritage sector. So we're going to be talking about the scope of the sector, what it looks like, how big is it in the UK. I mean, I am specifically talking about the UK sector for today, just to give you a bit of a heads up into this sector that I'm kind of based in at the moment. It's a fairly I would say it's a large sector, but I mean, I looked at the figures of how it kind of numbers, how many people are actually working in the heritage sector in the UK, and there seems to be over 200,000. That sounds like a lot, but it's actually not that much compared to other sectors. I think in the past, it was a sector that many people thought that they couldn't work in, or they weren't qualified to work in that sector for whatever reason. Or they also thought it was quite an exclusive sector, and one for kind of wealthy, rich Oxford and Cambridge type students. It is not. It is a sector that everybody can work in, from all sections of the community, all genders, all races, definitely open. Okay, so don't ever think that the sector is for a specific type of person. It's for a person that is passionate. I would say passion runs through everybody that I've met in the heritage sector and industrial heritage sector, in particular the one I work in more closely nowadays, the industrial heritage sector. Okay, so 200,000 plus people, so that's a fairly nice group in there. You've got lots of people to meet, lots of people to talk to, and learn from. There's over 2,000 plus museums in the UK, which is incredible. There's 35,000 in the US, which is incredible as well. And I read just recently that there are 432, around that figure, it's not exact, around 432 mining museums all over the world, because my interest within industrial heritage is coal mining, the history of coal mining, and how mining is presented in museums. Okay, how diversity within mining is presented within museums. So that is my strength, and that is the kind of area of heritage that I specifically work in. So within the UK, there's 2,000 plus museums. That's a lot. I think that's superb. There should be more. I know during COVID and during the lockdown period, it was a very tough time for the sector between 2020 and March 2020 was lockdown up until 2021 in the UK, late 21. We had a pretty tough time in the sector, but majority of museums did have opened up again, but some, I've noticed that some have gone down to instead of being 7 days a week or 6 days a week, some are maybe 4 or 5 days a week, some museums, in order to reduce costs. So the sector has changed, but what I have noticed working in the sector is the passion is there. Everybody cares. It's a very caring profession as well. I've met so many kind people, and people who share and talk. They're not cagey about what they know, as in other professions. They don't want to tell you, or it's very difficult to move up in that sector. In the heritage sector, you can move anywhere you want to go, as long as you're passionate about history and wanting to share that with the world, share heritage with the world. So it's a fantastic sector to work in. I will always stand by it and support it, because it's given me a new lease of life. Having left teaching, I was a teacher in school, and I worked in primary school and secondary school and also college as well, so over 14 years. So it's given me a new career. I do the work that I love. I've met fantastic, kind, helpful, generous professionals and volunteers, and members of the public as well. They've been so great. I've met great people, and we all really care about how the human story is told and presented. So that's what history is to me, the human story. So obviously, like I said, I mentioned before, there are redundancies on the increase, perhaps through lack of funding, or people do change careers if they feel a little bit insecure with what's happening in their kind of workplace. So I mean, no sector is perfect, But I think that if we help to build it and make it more resilient by staying in the sector and helping it through this challenging period in human history, which COVID is one of those challenging periods, difficult periods for many people across the world, we have to come out of that stronger, and we got to support the sector by keeping our knowledge and skills in the sector. Okay, so so those are some of the reasons, some of the scope, the kind of context of the heritage sector as a good place to work. Okay, so there are pluses and there are minuses. Okay, so think about your own workplace, how you spend your time. I think about, you know, some of the challenges with your own work that you have to do, and some of the realities and some of the absolutely amazing things that you do in your working life. Okay, so now we're going to talk about finding a job. Okay, finding a vacancy, a job vacancy, and also how to make your own job, create your own vacancy and fill it with your own knowledge and skills. All right, so I would say, having worked in the sector for nearly 30 years, and media sector, I think the main areas, main spaces where you can look for jobs within for the heritage sector is on some of these websites which I've listed. The first one is the Museum Association website. So the Museum Association is the kind of umbrella organization that is a voice for the sector, for members. It hosts a fantastic conference every year. It hosts lots of resources and educational material and training, all available on their website. So if you go onto the Museum Association website, museumassociation.org, and there is a menu, careers, finding a job. So just have a look. I think you do need to be a member in order to apply or to access certain information. So it's worth joining on. It's a fantastic organization, and it's there to help you and keep you safe in the sector for as long as possible, and for you to enjoy the sector and learn through others. Okay, so the Museum Association is a place to go. The second one is Historic England. It's a government body kind of that helps to lists all the kind of heritage spaces and sites that are potentially at risk. So those are sites where they might be deteriorating, or they might be empty, or they might be falling down. It could be a wall, or it could be a building, a church. But the Historic England do a fantastic job in helping to make sure that heritage in all its forms, because heritage is not just buildings or monuments, it involves people, memories, maritime history, nature. There's all sorts of things that need to be looked after and preserved or conserved as well. So Historic England keep a kind of they're important. Their website's brilliant as well. So if you go onto Historic England and have a look at some of the things that they do, and some of the funding that sometimes they do share information on grants and funding that's available. So Historic England is another space where you can they list job opportunities that they have in their own organization and other organizations as well, I think, with that one. But it's worth a look. And some of their articles that they put on social media, especially LinkedIn, I use LinkedIn a lot in order to connect up with other professionals in the heritage sector. They put out some fantastic posts. They've got some staff writers, absolutely brilliant articles. All right, so I would definitely recommend Historic England. The Guardian newspaper online, or the actual print version as well, they have a menu, jobs, arts and heritage. So that's a great space as well to find jobs all over the country that you can apply for, and just even see, look at the job descriptions, look at what they're asking for, look at the skills required, and give it a go. I mean, nowadays, job kind of applications, job kind of vacancies, they're all advertised a little bit differently now. Sometimes I'll be requesting a video sometimes they're requesting a CV, or it might be a statement letter, or it might be you'll spend a day at that organization or a week. You know, it's all changed now. It's no longer a simple letter or a CV. They actually want to know about you as a person, and they want to see that you fit in their kind of vision or aim. And they also want to, I think a lot of companies now are wanting to see the skills people have. So it's no longer simply qualifications, it's academic qualifications. I mean, it's being able to talk to people, being able to read effectively and quickly. It might be writing skills they're looking for. Certainly I would definitely say speaking skills and outgoing nature of people. They like people who can engage online with other people, especially young people and older people as well. So you need to be quite dynamic, quite flexible, and patient and understanding and resilient as well, and not to give up, because things can get tough on certain days of the year, and it's just being able to cope and manage and continue on, not giving up. You know, they're looking for those kind of skills, which are brilliant. I think they're really good. So that is The Guardian. Next is LinkedIn. So we just talked about social media now. I think many employers are going to social media to advertise. Often it's free. Sometimes you do need to pay to post for a vacancy, but often it's free, which is superb. So therefore, they're open. For me, that's more inclusive in that they're opening up the chances of people, all types of people, to apply for that job. Where in the past it was only, so you know, companies advertised in certain newspapers, but what if you didn't read that print version of that newspaper? You couldn't see that job vacancy. So I think there's been a move away from the printed version of job adverts onto move online, especially through social media. So LinkedIn is brilliant. So if you kind of link up with certain groups, and they got a jobs menu, and you can put in what kind of job you're looking for, what kind of sector you want to work in, and they post every day. I link up to the inclusion, diversity, the EDI, equality, diversity, inclusion kind of jobs section of LinkedIn, and every day I get posts through of companies wanting equality specialists. So I do like to, I haven't applied for any yet, but I do like to look at and see what people are wanting, seeing whether my skills and knowledge will fit into their kind of their workplace and their kind of outlook and vision and plans, management plans. So they're brilliant. It's a brilliant tool, LinkedIn. And also, obviously, you've got the jobs menu, but also get yourself into groups, heritage related groups. They're a great teaching space, a great learning space, a great sharing space. Okay. And you can meet people. I've met great people through LinkedIn and other platforms as well, but LinkedIn particularly for me, in that its focus is on the professional world, the working world, and that's the kind of world that I prefer to be in, rather than the kind of this kind of more informal, friendly, you know, not friendly, not that LinkedIn is not friendly, but it focuses on professionals and the careers and jobs and getting work done, because that's what a job is. It's not just going to a job and doing a job. You're doing a job that provides a service or a product for the world. So, but what is it? You know, for the heritage sector, we're providing education, we're providing social activities, we're providing a space for people to feel better, to walk around a museum, to sit down and relax. That's good for the soul, it's good for the brain, it's good for well-being, health and well-being. So the heritage sector does provide lots of skills, lots of services and lots of products. All right, so think about what it is you are wanting, and please, you know, go after what you really want, and think about who you are as a character as well. Are you very chatty? Could you be helping with audience engagement in a museum or in an art gallery or another industrial heritage site or organization? What is it you're good at? Are you good at writing? Could you help write content for the website of a heritage organization? Could you write for their newsletter or magazine? Could you help with training? Could you help with catering if you love working with food and drinks and keeping healthy that way? Could you help a heritage organization or museum, heritage, in the heritage sector? Could you bring your skills and within the heritage sector? Yes. So think about who you are as a person, because I think that's really important to enjoying the work that you do, is recognizing your strengths, what you're good at. Okay. So I like to talk to people. I like to talk to people online. I like to wear nice earrings. As you can tell, I've got these lovely Kenyan earrings. I went to a Kenyan gemstone mine a few weeks ago, and I bought these earrings just to remind me of my time in Kenya, because I really enjoy visiting coal mines across the world. All right, so that's my thing that I like to do, and to meet miners. I met some women miners, which is absolutely brilliant. Their role working in the mine. So that's what I like to do. So I just wanted to share that with you. Another place for finding work is charityjob.co.uk. So if you're looking to work within a charity, so remember I talked about company setup, the way that companies are set up. So I mentioned social enterprises, I mentioned private companies, limited companies, and now charity as well. A charity is a non-profit organization, but they still make income, but that income they do have to put back into the charity. Okay, and it's to pay staff and pay for running costs and so forth. So the charity setup is another form of setup, company setup. So you might want to consider setting up your own charity that helps people in the heritage sector, say. Okay, so if you're looking for a charity job, a job within a charity that helps heritage, that works in the heritage sector, charityjob.co.uk is a great place to look. Okay, and the final one I just listed here was Indeed Jobs and Total Jobs and Reed. Okay, these are other major job portal, job vacancy websites. They've been around for many years and given people many jobs. Okay, they're really great, a great place to look. So this was just a brief overview of some of the places to look online in order to find a job within the industrial heritage sector or heritage sector. Okay, so it's worth taking a look at all of those. If you're looking for advice or career guidance, so if you're not quite sure what job you want to do, you might not even want to work in the heritage sector. You might be thinking about something totally different, which you are welcome to do. If you ever want to think about your career journey, because it is a journey, it does change path over time. If you want some general advice, great advice, a place to visit online is the National Career Service. So that's the nationalcareers.service.gov.uk, and they are brilliant in talking to you. I've been to them a few times in my lifetime where I've been not sure about what to do or where to go or how to get help. They were really great at listening, and there's a lot of things they do that's on the website that can help you make that decision as well. It's lovely that when I went on there a few years ago now, I got to talk to someone in person on over the phone, and they spent an hour or so with me. I couldn't believe it at the time. I'll never forget. It wasn't like a 5-minute call and on and off. They spent time listening and talking and weighing things up and just giving me that space to talk, because often you think no one's interested or no one cares, but people do care. And the National Career Service is an organization I felt that really cared and helped me find my work within the heritage sector. There are websites that offer career tests, so kind of little quizzes and multiple multiple choice questions that work out your kind of strengths and things that would make you particularly strong in a particular job or role. And if you visit the careertest.org and have a look at some of the tests, have a go, see what it's saying for you to help you make that informed choice about your career. within heritage, say. And the last one is UCAS. So UCAS, UCAS, that's spelled UCAS, and UCAS is the University Clearing and kind of Application Service. So it's one what a lot of students know. I've been through it myself when I went to university. Everyone going to university in the UK has to go through this kind of portal. It's basically all the information about universities, but what they've got on there is information about careers. So not just about getting on a degree course or diploma course, but they offer a lot of advice and really brilliant, well-researched information on that kind of work. So if you're just say studying film studies at university, it gives you some ideas. UCAS website will give you ideas of jobs that you could use your degree for. So it's worth looking at heritage on there, or history, and see on history jobs, heritage jobs, see what they're saying about what types of jobs there are, what employers are looking for, what your degree, how your degree might help that particular job. So my degree was in English, literature and language, and theology and religious studies. So you wouldn't think that has anything to do with heritage, but it's a lot to do with heritage, because I spend a lot of time in churches looking at stained glass and looking at architecture, the history of church buildings. So my theology side and religious studies side has helped me to look at different cultures and helped me to understand that aspect of the human experience. And my English and language and English literature part of my degree has helped me to write. Well, I do a lot of writing, a lot of publishing. I write exhibition content, website content, educational content. So broadcasting content. So that has helped me, my English degree as well. So that's helped me work in the heritage sector. So UCAS, UCAS, it's spelled, is brilliant. So have a look at that website. It's got a lot of information to help you make an informed choice about the career you want. So I want to talk about working as an entrepreneur. So basically leading your own work, leading your time in order to raise money to work for yourself. So that's what I do. I'm a director. I lead my organization, my social enterprise called Nottingham News Centre. And we set it up in order to improve education for all. Okay, and to use media production in order to educate. So that is the social mission, the social aim of a social enterprise. It needs to be around people, and it needs to be something that helps people. So that's often the kind of main kind of aspect of running a social enterprise. Obviously, as I mentioned before, there's companies that are limited companies where the emphasis isn't so much on the social, on people, but it's more about profit making and more, yes, they do services and products, but they're often less focused on people's kind of health and well-being and education. But they do, I mean, that's a little bit unfair to say. They I would say they spend more time probably developing their products or services. They probably all do serve a purpose in order to help people, but I find that companies that are set up as social enterprises, they offer their focus, their mission and objective that is written into their memorandum of association. So it's basically their governing document states certain things that organization should do. Okay, so there is a difference between a charity, a limited company, and a social enterprise, a CIC or other kind of setup. So just make sure you do your research. If you go on to gov.uk, it has a lot of information about different types of company setup. All right, you can work for yourself as a freelancer. So I find a lot of artists, a lot of creative people, designers, they work for themselves as a freelancer. So that again, it's very entrepreneurial. They go out, literally go online or physically, and they get contracts, or a lot of their contracts are through word of mouth, through the good work that they do. They show it to get more work. Often they show their work through Instagram or LinkedIn or Facebook or social media, or through their own website or blog, or make YouTube videos about the great work and services, products that they do. So that's another route into say heritage You can work as a freelancer. You can work as a company director. Make direct contact with companies, with individuals, talk to people. I think the best way of learning is often talking to people, finding out what people do. I think working for yourself, you do have to be quite brave. You do have to believe in what you're doing, have passion for what you're doing. Because I think that's definitely what's kept me being self-employed for nearly 10 years. It's been, and working for almost 30 years, is my belief and passion and care for people's education, what people are learning, how they are learning it, what's available out there for people to learn. Okay, so that's been my kind of foundation, the bedrock of all the work I do. Okay, and I find working in the heritage sector lets me showcase and share that kind of skill and knowledge, okay, and help other people to think about how they're presenting history. Okay, and making sure it's inclusive and diverse and different and engaging. Yes, because it has to be, else there's no point looking at it if it doesn't reach me, doesn't touch me, it's not about me. It has to be about me. It has to be about communities. It has to be about how we're living today, everybody, okay, across the world. All right, so think big. Don't think small. All right, think big. And lastly, I would just say, try to attend conferences, try to attend networking events, set up your own webinars and online chats and forums such as this one, and get talking about what you're passionate about and what you care about, okay? And encourage other people to seek their own drive, passion and whatever drives them, and seek their own kind of happiness as well. So I always leave a blank slide in my presentations just to help people to think about some of the things that we've discussed today, and think about things that you might try in the future, and where you might start looking if you are seeking to work in industrial heritage, in this heritage sector. What avenues will you start to look down or research? Yeah, so just start to think about some of the practical things that you need to do. Perhaps make sure that you have enough time and dedication and passion, okay, that you want to do it. For further reading and other websites to visit, you can visit the Nottingham News Centre website. It's got loads of ideas of services and products we offer. You can also visit the Nottingham News Centre YouTube channel. Feel free to visit a case study of the work we've done at Nottingham News Centre. That would be the Black Coal Miners website, blackcoalminers.com, and the Black Miners Museum YouTube channel. And also these videos that we have made, the series of 5, and the PowerPoints are all on the Black Miners Museum YouTube channel. So if you want to look back and see one of the videos that we have made in this series, they're all online at the Black Miners Museum YouTube channel. You can also visit Museum Detox. They're an organisation that is helping people from diverse communities to get more involved in the heritage sector. And the Museum Association, which I mentioned earlier, they have some fantastic information and news for the sector. If you're more local, if you're in the Nottinghamshire or East Midlands area, or across the world, you can visit the Nottingham Industrial Heritage Association, niha.org.uk, and they have information about the region and about industrial history in this particular region. You can visit the Arts Funding and Philanthropy website. I think I said it a bit better that time, .org.uk. They have got some really great information and tips and funding information there as well. And the Heritage Lottery Fund, who fund major projects across the UK, in England, Scotland, and Wales, and Ireland. They have funding that helps projects to come to fruition. They are absolutely fantastic, and their website as well has got some great information, and they also have a jobs portal as well. So to stay in touch and to ask any questions, please feel free to email. If you want to email me directly, it's norma@nottinghamnewscentre.com. And you can visit any of our 3 websites, nottinghamnewscentre.com, normagregory.com and theblackcoalminers.com if you want to see any more information. If you want to visit our supporting partner, you need to visit artsfundraising.org.uk, and you can go and share with me and make contact on social media, Twitter, LinkedIn and Facebook. So that is all. We wish you a fantastic day and journey ahead, and stay focused and stay passionate about heritage. See you next time.